Oh, today I'm back with the versus video. Definitely been a while since I've done a video. I believe the last video I did was around 2 weeks ago or so. So yeah, definitely been a while, but basically it's just basically just been a lack of motivation, and just my mind lately just has been on other things. But either way, definitely glad to be back making another video for you guys. But the albums that we'll be comparing today for this video, we got Damage Done by Dark Tranquillity and Reroute to Remain by In Flames. So yeah, two leaders in the world of melodic death metal, definitely two pioneers in the genre. But you got different situations going on with these bands around the timing of these albums. With Dark Tranquillity, this album is following a couple of albums that saw Dark Tranquillity trying new things, experimenting a little bit. Those albums being Projector and Haven. With those albums, you could see the band experimenting with electronic elements. You also see the use of clean vocals from Michael in those albums, especially more with Projector. While with the electronic elements, you can definitely notice that in Haven. But with this album, Damage Done, they really bring back the heavy. They really bring the heaviness, especially with certain tracks. And then with In Flames, with Reroute to Remain, this album, for some people, for some fans, is the start of the decline for this band. With Reroute to Remain, you see the band going for a more accessible sound, and that would lead to where they would be today, especially with what they would do with the albums later in that decade of the 2000s. With albums like Soundtrack to Your Escape and Come Clarity having one of their big songs, Take This Life. But yeah, let's first talk about this album though, Damage Done. So with Damage Done, for me, this is actually my favorite Dark Tranquillity album. I know some people might point to The Gallery or maybe The Mind's Eye or Fiction or any of those albums, but I know this is one of the fan favorites, or at least one of the favorites in their discography, and for good reason. But for me, again, I think this album really is their best, or at least one of their best. But I think you have one of the band's best singles on here, Monochromatic Stains. And also the album does have some pretty strong choruses, such as in songs like Final Resistance and Monochromatic Stains. Again, that song being one of their best singles in my opinion. But I feel that this album also has some pretty good deep cuts too. Some songs that I feel like are somewhat kind of overlooked. To name a few, I mean, Single Part of Two is easily one of my favorites. Same with Cathode Ray Sunshine, which is maybe one of my favorite Dark Tranquillity songs. It was cool to revisit Format C for Cortex. That was a song that I recently re-listened to, because again, it's been a while, and that's another song I think is also pretty good off the album. Another pretty good deep cut. I Deception, I think, is maybe one of my favorites when it comes to the second half of the album, but all around, a really great album from Dark Tranquillity. I really like the growls from Michael in this album. I think he gets some of his best vocal work in this album. But yeah, also the title track Damage Done to me is one of the band's best title tracks, I'd say. But yeah, all around, again, definitely a really great album. And maybe one of the best metal albums of 2002, I'd say. Maybe, but all around, really great stuff. But let's go ahead and talk about Reroute to Remain by In Flames. Again, this album sees the band going for a more accessible sound, but still with this album, you still have they still bring in the metal, of course. I mean, but you can see Anders experimenting a little bit more with how he approaches his vocals. You see him sing a little bit more in the album, but he would sing more often in some of the later albums, such as Siren Charms, which for me is the biggest turd in their discography, at least in my opinion. But Reroute to Remain, I think, is another solid album from In Flames. But with that said, I feel like this is one of those albums where it's clear which half is the stronger half. For this album, I'd say the first half is obviously the stronger half, or the more memorable half. But I think the second half does have its moments, though. You do get some pretty good deep cuts in the second half. Some of them are maybe somewhat kind of skips, but not super terrible by any means. I wouldn't really consider any of the songs on this album terrible, but When it comes to the second half, I do enjoy Minus and Free Fall. Egonomic is another song that I dig off the album. They pick up the tempo a bit more in that song. But yeah, the first half to me is easily the stronger half, and I think Cloud Connected is honestly maybe one of my favorite singles from the band, and maybe one of my favorite songs from In Flames. I don't know, for me, I think it's a pretty good single for the band. Same with Trigger, that's another really good song. If I remember correctly, that song was in the soundtrack for a movie, I can't remember which one. It might have been Freddy vs. Jason, I could be wrong, but either way, Trigger, definitely a great song. Reroute to Remain, the title track, for me is probably one of my favorite In Flames songs, and also to me one of their best title tracks too. But yeah, you move towards the deep cuts in the album, and some of my favorite deep cuts are probably Drifter and Minus and Free Fall. But yeah, there are some skippable songs on here, or some songs that I think are somewhat kind of filler or not as interesting as some of the other songs on the album. Some of those songs that come to mind for me are Transparent, and Metaphor is another song that I think is just okay, but never been one of my favorites. But yeah, Reroute to Remain, solid album. When it comes to ranking the In Flames discography, this album would probably be closer towards the middle, but either way, again, another solid album from In Flames in my opinion. Not every fan's going to be into this album. I do think this is an album that probably could benefit from some trimming. I mean, you got 14 tracks. If you remove like 2 or 3 songs off of here, I feel like it would have been a stronger album. But either way, again, especially when it comes to when it comes to their 2000s work, I think this is one of the more stronger albums that they put out. Of course, the best one from the 2000s work is, of course, Clayman, but this one would probably be in close second for me. Either this one or Come Clarity. But yeah, if I were to pick which album I like more for this video, I'm gonna have to go with Damage Done. For me, it is a stronger album, and I feel like you get less filler, and I feel like the highs on this album are more impressive highs than the highs on Reroute to Remain. With that said, I might depend on the song actually, now that I think about it, but either way, still, at the end of the day, I probably would still go with Damage Done. But anyways, that is my choice for this video. Let me know which album you like more, Reroute to Remain or Damage Done. Let me know if these albums are some of your favorites from these bands, some of your least favorites, or more towards the middle in their discography. Let me know some of your favorite or least favorite songs off these albums, and all the good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.